The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Two races to decide our lineup for the chase here in the Area Pro Series. Which 12 drivers will get themselves in? Will it be all on points, or will a wild card come in and seal the deal for their championship fate? It's just here in Talladega to wind ourselves into the chase picture, and you don't want to go into Talladega with expectations because we all know what can happen there. 130 laps at Kansas for the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series. Let's have some fun. Welcome everybody to PTR TV for today's coverage. It's going to be 130 laps around the Kansas Speedway for the Area Pro Series here by Florida Estate Builders. And we are going to be in for a good night. Myself, Corey Silva in the booth, and in the truck, Hunter Sleppy with the calls. We're just talking about, Hunter, how this race has transpired in the 5 runnings of it. We only average 1 caution here in this Nopes car at Kansas. Will the trend continue, or will this one be a little bit more chaotic?
Well, regardless of what the trends have said in Monday and Tuesday night's race, we've had a bunch of yellows. But, yeah, this one seems like we're not going to get a whole lot of yellows tonight. We've had 3 races in 5 here at Kansas where they've gone caution-free. That was in Season 1, Season 5, and then last season in Season 7. And ironically enough, all 3 of those have been won by James Scioli. So if he's racing tonight, there might not be a yellow, and he might just win it, but still 130 laps to tell the tale here as we are looking at the points. Peyton Howells he's had a phenomenal season. He's got a 12-point cushion over Brian Mercurio. Then Jake Nichols, 16 points back. James Scioli, 17 points back. He won last week at the Daytona Road Course. Puts himself in a closer position to being at the top of the points standings. Justin Opplinger is 5th. He's got ways to go. John Hall missed last week, so he's 2 points, 2 points positions down. Stravato, Wright, Chilcutt, Horn, Beckner, and Pacioli currently have the top 12, but I do believe Zach Kerr would get the wild card provisional with his win on the year.
Absolutely, as I did have AJ Stravato on that list twice. Don't quite know how I did that one because I double-checked it, but maybe you should have triple-checked it. But here comes Brian Mercurio coming off of the corner here, still, well, not still looking for the win. He did get that win on the season at Dover a few weeks ago, and he will be 6th on the scoring sheet. And here he is, you know, kind of Logano style. Every other race is caution-free, and that puts James Scioli in victory circle. I guess if you're James Scioli, the trend means that we are due for a caution because the alternation not in his favor.
That is what the trends do be saying as Scioli comes through. I think this is to start a lap time.
On his live lap now, and that projection will continue to fluctuate here. The top time here in the session with Zach Kerr at a 31:32. And we'll see who will get closer to it coming off of 4. I remember a photo finish here last season amongst the teammates here at Kansas. This time through won't be the pole. It'll be close though, P3 for Scioli. Somebody else of note, of course, Jake Nichols. If I remember correctly, it was the 2 of them last season. We'll see what he can muster. This one's looking good. It's looking good, but he will jump to P3. That seems to be the magic spot right now.
Yeah, magic indeed. Connor Horn coming through, taking the top spot at the buzzer. So Connor Horn's going to be rolling off from the pole. Was just about to say, if you're within the first 2 rows, you usually have a pretty good spot, or pretty good chance of winning from that spot. This guy only won it back in season 1 from the pole. Jake Nichols in season 6 from the pole. The furthest that a car has come from the field to win was back in season 2. A classic finish. Davey Hendricks stealing it on the last lap after Alan Elwood binned it into the wall in turn 4 on the very last lap. Gotta have a warm-up period, but really looking forward to seeing what these guys are going to be able to do prior to Talladega. That is next week's race. Again, if we're projected to have a long green flag run, it could cause some guys to look at this race very different and try to make it about when you pit and how you pit. Corey, really don't know what to expect from this one.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't expect on Tuesday night was the level of fall off in the race. I think it was over 2 seconds of fall off in the trucks. Now, these Nopes cars, the O'Reilly cars, or whatever you want to acronymize them as, they do tend to have the biggest fall off. So if this race does have that green flag flare, to your point of, making the pit stops, this could be a very strategy-oriented race. We saw it also happen on Monday night, where we had a long strategy race, and then some drivers kind of pseudo got caught with their pants down there when the caution interrupted. So could certainly be one to watch out for. But we want to thank everyone who has tuned in here to PTR TV. Hit the like and subscribe button here. Help us here out on our channel. And if you're watching on Twitch, consider hitting the follow button and the subscribe button. $5 a month, custom emotes, double points. And those double points will eventually turn into some sweet free merch here as we are 3 minutes to go. Let's take a look at the weather, Hunter.
Yeah, looking through, and it is a pretty good day on the racetrack. Or in the air, I should say. 84 in the air, 128 at the track. So it's pretty hot to cook an egg, steak, whatever you want on that surface. Really hot, really slick. Not a lot of wind, barely any at all. So it's going to be hot, going to be slick. These long runs that we're projected to have going to make for some pretty phenomenal racing.
And that should just bake the tires here. Now, we are 3 minutes to go in the warm-up session. A lot of times the warm-up will kind of get cut short, but we did have a driver who had some connectivity issues and is trying to reboot into our race. So we're going to let it run through, give him opportunity to get back in the session. But somebody who is here, and again, not here for points, here for fun and bragging rights, Sebastian Marin. We were just talking off air, wasn't quick in practice, but right now is second on the sheet, and always someone that can come into play here and make something interesting happen when it comes to stealing a race win.
Very true. He's had such a phenomenal season, whether you look at it from the pro side of things, where he's got, I believe, 4 wins to his name. If I look at that, no, 3 wins to his name on 4 starts. Cup, he's been a threat whenever he's there week in, week out. Going to make for some pretty interesting racing, trying to see where he'll come from in the field. I'm not sure where he's qualified. I don't think he'll have to go too far up, but with Connor Horn being on the pole, though, he is looking for a good run. 9th and actually 10th in the standings, 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. Fairly consistent season to where he's at in the point standings, but looking to go a step further, try to nab himself the first win of the season right before Talladega.
He's going to want to get high in the point standings as possible because we do have opportunities for the wild card. Zach Kerr is in position, I think, to grab a wild card spot with the win that he has on the season. And then you do have opportunities for anybody outside. Perhaps a Jeremy Miller can steal a win. Perhaps a Garrett Conrath can steal a win. He's 13th right now. So there is opportunities for these drivers to get bumped out, and you don't want to be 11th or 12th because that certainly could be a risky place to be in heading into Dega.
Yeah, very risky to say the very least, as session is winding down. Also, going to have to keep an eye on pit stops because, like I said, green flag runs mean green flag pit stops, and it's going from 17 to 20 degrees of banking, that progressive banking, all the way down to 0. Got to make sure that you're within pit speed after the update from iRacing. Been a little strict with that, but I think it's time we get our starting lineup.
Absolutely. By Central Mobile Homes. Of course, if you're looking for a new home floor plan, a shed, or Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes, proudly serving Florida customers for 30 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plan shed designs and Triple Crown trailers. Head to LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring, CentralMobileHomesInc.com. But we are now headed down trackside, and let's go and get them fired off here today with that starting lineup. Connor Horn, who snuck in for that pole lap with a minute or so left in the session with a 31.28. Peyton Howell to the outside as the points leader. Zach Kerr, again, he's one of the ones trying to race his way in to that playoff chase with Jake Nichols in the Patriotic vehicle to the outside. Heading back to fifth, you find James Scioli. Will the trend be in his favor to grab another Kansas win? Philip Groner going to be in sixth. Seventh, we have Jonathan Evans with Garrett Conrath. As I said, he's trying to sneak his way in the 13th spot in points. Now we have Jeremy Miller and Brian Mercurio, second of the points. He's there in 10th.
Rolling off 11th, we'll find Alex Chilcutt in the 60. Next to him, the 86 of Timmy Pacioli in 12th. 13th, it's Zach Carr from Michigan down in 13th. 14th from Vatican City, JT Poole in that blue 28. Justin Opplinger is going to be 15th in his 96 car. Next to him, the 77 of AJ Stravato, 16th on the track. 17th, David Weishart in the 29. John Hall is 18th in the number 24 car. 19th, we'll find Sebastian Marin, so he will have to go from quite a ways to get up to the front. But next to him, Josh Parrish in the 71 can roll off 20th.
And we'll go back to find Jackson Hartman in 21st with Sebastian Miller, Belmont, North Carolina, 22nd. Find Bryce Senesac and our Hendry County boy Travis Beckner in 24th. Ben Pierce, 25th. Josh Adams, 26th. Then we have Casey Lakatos and Ryan Nowicki, Hunter Sr. and Donald Kite, the top 30. And amongst the 5 further drivers, Brad Slaughter, Forrest Smith, Ryan Swan, Ben Whitsitt, or the recap guy. And actually, that's it. That is our field here today. Someone is somehow messed up because 35 drivers shouldn't be an even number, but we'll let the numbers be as they will. As you can see, Jeremy Miller pulling off here was our report of EOLs. Adams, Beckner, Miller, Durham, and Chilcutt and Kerr. And then we have Elwood and Shackelford. They will have the level 2 penalty, the drive-through, which as we saw on Tuesday with a couple drivers, Chase Cabry, the one that sticks out. If the race does go green, that drive-through penalty is going to be even worse because you may never get the opportunity to catch back up.
Yeah, very true. Something to keep an eye out for. Getting under 30 laps latest for us here, as Connor Horn is going to be leading the field of green, but he's got Peyton Howell next to him. Peyton Howell, mentioned it the beginning of the program. He is the points leader, only by 12 points though, so he's looking to keep his momentum rolling as we go through Kansas. Zach Kerr, mentioned him. He's not too far behind. He's 16th. He's got a win to his name, though, this season. So, pretty good starting position to possibly nab himself another one. And then Jake Nichols, we mentioned it. He won Monday somehow, some way. The older tires in the field was able to hold off his 2 teammates, Seth Knoll and James Scioli. Potential for him to go 2 for 2 this weekend.
Now, again, we have our back-end chats with admin and get some other feeds of information that get presented to us there, Hunter, and we have somebody predicting another 67 car gets a win here this week. So that's a little added pressure to Connor Horn here starting on the pole here today. Not going to say who, but of course we got some fans in chat, some pulling for Opplinger. Of course we got Beckner always having fans. We got someone pulling for Mr. 6'7" here today. Connor Horn, our pole sitter, but he's going to have a stout field behind him. Peyton Howell, Jake Nichols, James Skyhole, Conrath, and a whole bunch of other drivers looking to cement themselves in the chase. And somebody running the chicane layout back there.
Well, gotta get yourself amused somehow.
Well, we're coming through turns 3 and 4 at the Kansas Speedway. Just 2 races left until the chase starts here in Talladega. Got to get all the points here because you don't know what's going to happen next week. Got to put all the money on today and have the best race you can. Connor Horn on the pole, going to head into the start box. Florida State Builders Pro Series live here at the Kansas Speedway. Off into 1 for the first time in that outside lane, rather the middle lane. Peyton Howell using that slight bit more banking on the middle of the track, and he may get the lead right off the jump. But there they go, fanning out, trying to get the positions while they're there, Hunter. 2-3 wide behind them.
Yeah, and just like Tuesday, the pole sitter won't be able to lead the first lap. It'll be Peyton Howell coming through as the leader. Connor Horn holding off from second for the time being. Got the 7 of James Skyhole rolling through. Jonathan Evans there as well in the 26, making up some ground. And Garrett Conrath all the way on the outside lane through 1 and 2.
And he is looking for the win, looking for the opportunity to get into the chase. Conrath is, because he is in that 13th spot, of course, dominating in the Truck Series, but that luck has not been here as much in the Florida State Builders Pro Series. But Connor Horn in second again, the pole sitter, not leading a lap. And looking on the bottom of the track, you see that bright green M&M's car on the apron. That's Sebastian Mayer, and he is in the 11th spot looking for more as somebody with some connectivity issues. That's Timmy Pacioli to the outside and Zach Carr ahead.
Only done 2 laps, but he's up 7 spots, so pretty good start to the day for Sebastian Mayer as he looks to crack the top 10. Meanwhile, the 73 and Nichols going to go on the outside of Jonathan Evans there in the 26. Conrath had a bit of a moment off of 4, and Nichols going to try and take advantage of it. He can't really quite get to the outside quarter panel, but Conrath stays in 4th for the time being, door-to-door for 5th. And then back there you see the 86 of Pacioli again trying to work that outside lane in.
And they get a little free, it appeared. And then behind that, you have David Weishart, as I think we have a battle for 3rd going on right now. And that's Skyhole trying to rip that white line. And I certainly expect the multi-groove to come into play even more so than on Tuesday night with this super hot track temp and kind of what the O'Reilly car offers by nature. I think we're going to be using all the real estate as somebody. That's Bryce Senesac. Will that throw out a caution? I don't think it will, because he is well off the racing surface.
Take a look at a replay, see what happened. Looks like the 30 of Jeremy Miller there, and just gave him a little help going into turn 1, or not really help to the 09 of Senesac, but did not bring out a yellow, mowed some grass, and unfortunate for Senesac, he is bottom of the barrel on the leaderboard now, besides Skylar Shackelford, which I believe he served the drive-through at the beginning of this race.
I think it was, correct me if my memory, Hunter, if yours is better than mine, but I want to say it was on Monday night in the Cup Series by Studio Temporary that we had about 2 or 3 drivers actually self-spin, cutting it down there on the apron. So the risk-reward down there may be, of course, you can't predict contact, but the risk-reward going down there might be not worth it in some instances.
Yeah, they gave a +1 to the 30 there, so that's a no-go for Jeremy Miller to his points total, or for rec score, I should say. But meanwhile, a little further back here outside the top 10, Shavato and John Hall door-to-door for position. We're on board now with Zach Kerr, who's behind this battle as they fan out 2, sometimes 3 wide. That's the green car, Sebastian Mayer, trying to work his way through the middle up there. Tried to do so, couldn't quite get there. Tucked back in line. He is behind Jonathan Evans and Philip Groner as they continue to do battle in the 1.
Right behind Philip Groner, right in that dirty air, but might be able to work through it, trying to get to the outside lane, and he will, as that is usually the preferred lane here at Kansas with that additional banking, and it's only a matter of time before you start seeing them even further into that 3rd lane where you see just behind John Hall, who did win at Las Vegas, if memory serves appropriately. And very similar track here, almost a sister track of sorts to Las Vegas is Kansas. So if he's fast there, I'd expect some good things from him. He is absolutely ripping up there, but it's not really going places quite yet. Or maybe this time it is. He had to back off that run from the back of Pacioli.
Indeed, as we see 7/10 back from Peyton Howell. Connor Horn still holds that second spot, keeping a pretty good line in tow. Garrett Conrath keeping that outside lane rolling, and you can see Connor Horn, one of the few guys to use that apron on the front stretch there. As you mentioned, we've seen a couple of guys lose it on their own Monday night. Don't think it's been an issue tonight as far as guys losing it on their own, but contact was had not too many laps ago between Miller and Senesek in that region. But Connor Horn rolling the bottom, Scioli rolling the top, trying to get around Mercurio for the 5th spot.
Now, one thing to note, too, as you can see as they'll get to the corner, we pointed out the rubber going down onto the racing surface. Where there is rubber does tend to be a little bit easier on those Goodyear Eagles, but where there's less rubber, sometimes there's more grip, but a lot of times you're going to wear those tires out. So it'll be interesting to see if there's more fall off, if there's more tire deg from those guys who are being high line happy. And just as we say that, Scioli goes right back down to the white line, and that's still Conrad's up there at the top, not doing too well through that set of corners. He'll lose a spot to Nichols and maybe losing the spot to Scioli.
Could very well be doing that. Scioli has found a rhythm. He's working that bottom groove through 1 and 2. Trying to get alongside the 49 of Conrath. He lost that position not too long ago. Jake Nichols jumped up to 3rd now as Conrath has gone from rolling the top to rolling the bottom through 3 and 4. Mercurio, though, trying to get the run on the outside of Scioli to keep himself in that 5th position. Sebastian Mayer driving through behind him. And then a little further back here, this is right around 15th, 14th. It's Zach Kerr on the outside, Jeremy Miller there, David Weishart in the picture. Here's Casey Lacanis as Kerr is in the wall. Chilcutt and Lacanis driving by.
That'll cost him a few spots here on the day. And something must have happened to Travis Beckner that we did miss, because he was, in 5th or so? And now he is all the way back. I'm looking through my log here. Nothing immediately points out, but he is all the way back to the 22nd spot. So he must have got chronically loose or something, but not a good circumstance here for that 27. Wait, oh no, pardon me. That was Garrett Conrath. I'm getting my Hendry County boys messed up, but that's Zach Kerr with the save of epic proportions there on the backstretch as I fumble over my Hendry boy. Zach Kerr has had a massive bit of driving.
Get a look at a replay here as right on that edge of the wall. Holy Toledo. Don't know how he kept it straight.
But he did, and the tires won't be too pleased about that. But let's go further up. Let's find who else would it be but Sebastian Marin closing in now on Garrett Conrath, and then Brian Mercurio. All the while, Peyton Howell is still up front, but his lead is starting to decay. It peaked at around 0.8 of a second. Now about 6.5 tenths and slowly going down. As actually dead equal. Nope, he actually had 1/100th of a second faster was Peyton Howell last time through for what it may be worth. But looks like we may be starting to see the tire deg. That was Brian Mercurio with a slide on exit in 4. And there goes David Weishart back of the shot with a big wiggle.
Yeah, almost wiggled on the apron there, but Miller's in the wall through his outside. So it's starting to get a little more chaotic here. 15 laps in on this run with tires. Mentioned the 128-degree track temp. It's very hot. Tires are going to wear more. It's going to be real slick out there, and we're starting to see that as Peyton Howell starting to finally someone get to ease into his lead here. Nichols was a little bit faster that last time through. It's down to 6 car lengths of a second. The 73, we know how good he is at preserving the tire. Brian Mercurio starting to work his way through the field as well. Connor Horn trying to keep Garrett Conrath behind. He'll do just that, and maybe he'll take a little swipe. No, he won't. So Mercurio going to hold third for the time being.
That's kind of one of the scary scenarios, is when you're looking to maybe make that crossover through the tri-oval, you don't really know, is the guy going to run the apron? Is he going to stay on the track? Sometimes that will cause the issues where you just guess wrong as to where you expect your competitor is going to run that line. But now that lead up front, we have it down to a half second. So Jake Nichols starting to make some headway there. Last time through, about maybe a third of a hundredth faster, third of a tenth. This time through, about a little over 1/10. So perhaps Peyton Howell shot out of the cannon a little bit too quickly, and now we're at lap 20, which is usually our lap that we start to see the comers and goers. And Jake Nichols starting to persevere.
Yeah, he's been bit by bit better the past few laps that I'm looking at. 33.3 last time for Howell, 33.2 for Nichols. We'll get an updated one here, but you can tell the gap, it's gone down to less than a half a second between Howell and Nichols. And then just looking at the lap time, yeah, a little bit quicker from Nichols, although Howell picked up just a bit. So we're looking at this battle here outside the top five. Scioli, Marin, and Philip Groner. 6th, 7th, and 8th on the racetrack. About to be 3 wide for position coming out of 4.
That's Groner trying to hold on to the outside, and he will just keep to the right rear of Marin. Marin goes down to the apron to try to clear, but he will not be able to do so. So that will put Groner in an ideal position. And then you can see just ahead of that, Scioli trying to dive and clear. He's not going to go up and slide and shut the door on Conrath. He will clear. Conrath will have the run. Will he choose to cross over? No. He'll just give the little bump and fall back into line. And now here we go, almost forcing a 3 wide as Groner and Marin both try to double team and get underneath the 49.
Yeah, Groner trying to stay away and move up on the leaderboard. Conrath falling outside the top 5 now as he'll continue to run the outside lane, try to keep that momentum rolling as Eric Conrath and Philip Groner continue to do battle. And hello, John Hall making his presence felt inside the top 10. Marin wasn't quite clear there, so John Hall going to be on the outside of Marin through 3. Going to try and get a massive run to get along the outside of Groner through 4.
Yes, he is using that outside lane, and I almost wonder maybe has Sebastian taken out some of the good on the tires. He's had to move up a fair bit of spots in this race, and now we're 23 laps in. We're about 1.7 seconds off on pace since we started, and we're only 23 laps in. 4 sets of tires here today, so if we do have cautions, tires could certainly be an important thing to have in inventory. But also, if we stay green, when are you going to pit? So many variables at play, and as we run through, you can see we have some bundles, then we have some packs, then we're sprung out, so there still is plenty of opportunity for us to have some issues here, but thus far, everyone doing a great job.
There's a battle for second. We'll mention how Nichols was closing into the lead. Not anymore. Mercurio has caught up with the 73, and so has Connor Horn. He's kind of been hovering over this battle here as Mercurio moves closer through turn 4. Going to stay tucked in line for the time being, but second, third, and fourth all within 3 car lengths of each other. So we're going to get settled into turn 1. Peyton Howell going to enjoy this out of his rear view mirror as Mercurio is looking low on the 73, as Nichols will look to keep the outside lane to his advantage, but not quite. Here comes 82 into 3.
He's going to do that old Kansas diver all the way to the bottom of the track, and will Nichols be able to wrap the run from the top? He's going to make the run off the top, but it's not really going to go anywhere. And now Connor Horn is actually going to open the door down low. So the pole sitter, who didn't lead a lap, kind of showing some late run pace, which is something that I roasted on Connor for earlier in the season. He had a tendency to start very well, but then drop in the runs late. Kind of seeming to do the opposite here today. Didn't fire off pretty well, but is holding his own here on the long run.
Yeah, didn't quite get a good look at that initial start, so I'm not sure if he just didn't get going as well as Howell did, or if the lane he chose wasn't the right lane through 1 and 2. But regardless, he's keeping himself in the running for a podium paying position as outside the top 5, and this is outside the top 10 actually. The 49 of Garrett Conrath, he's fallen outside the top 10. Zach Carr has made his way in. Philip Groner, Jonathan Evans right there into turn 3 doing battle for the 8th position. But I've noticed the 49 was one of the very few guys to consistently run that outside lane in the opening stint of this race, and I think that tire wear is paying a bigly in a bad way for him because he's fallen outside the top 10 now.
You know, like I said, without that rubber up there, without the rubber, the track is very gritty, which is good for grip, but again, it's kind of cheese grating that rubber off the tires, and then eventually you're basically down to the cords. And I think the rough fuel number would probably be around 55 to 60 laps just based on what we've experienced. But say it every week, say it again, because it's still a true fact that you have to read the room of the race. There's probably an opportunity. I don't know if you could split this race into one stop. I think maybe 65 laps might be pushing it, but we'll see. You could easily do it as a 2-stop race, and when you make those stops could be very, very important, as we are now down 2 seconds, as we'll reference with Peyton Howell, who's still our race leader. We'll reference here on the stopwatch that you can see he's all but 2 seconds off after 30 laps. But do want to thank some of the partners here with Area. Of course, you can get yourself that sweet Area swag at shop.areairacing.com for that high quality merch at low prices. They have their lineup of t-shirts, hats, Adidas clothing, and other accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear at shop.areairacing.com.
There's old Casey Lakatos in the 50 car. Was working his way through towards the top 15 earlier. He's fallen down now to the 26th position. Him and Jackson Hartman doing battle there. But up front, JT Poole, let's say a little further up front, JT Poole and Alex Chilcutt battling for the 18th position.
Remember JT Poole, if memory serves, I think he was in the running for the win on Tuesday night until things just went astray there in that Ford Ranger that he likes to drive in the Area Truck Series. Alex Chilcutt, he was one of the recipients, as we do have our first taker in the pit road, and it's going to be David Weishart, who did a little agricultural work there on his way in, but he gets in nonetheless. But Alex Chilcutt, as a reminder, was one of the drivers who did have to do the EOL, so he formally started the race in 18th, but he practically started the race maybe around the 28th-ish spot. Actually, it was, 11th he started, but practically he started maybe 28th to 30th.
Yeah, he currently finds himself 18th, but still got some ways to go. Maybe if a yellow or two would fall into his lap, he could move higher up on the leaderboard, but it's going to be tough to do it under green. I mean, we've gone in the first 30 laps green, less than 100 to go here from Kansas, and that lead, talked about it, how it's been at least half a second or more, but now it's closed down to within 4 car lengths, about to be 3. It's Brian Mercurio. The longer we go, the faster his car gets. Connor Horn has followed suit as well, keeping up with him. James Skyerly in the 4th position there. He's keeping in touch with the 67, and Sebastian Marin start all the way back in 18th. He's worked his way up inside the top 5.
You can see here on the battle graphic that the top 3 all but ran within 2/100ths of a second. In fact, Mercurio and Horn all but tied each other, 1/1000th of a difference there. Fastest in the top 5, however, actually was, to no surprise, Sebastian Marin, but no slouch James Scioli, just 1/100th of a second slower than that. But James Scioli also in the dirty air. Of the top 3, Marin's far enough back that I think he has a little bit more downforce to play with. But now Mercurio within 0.2 of a second, and now the old Kansas aero blocking game is going to start. Peyton Howell is going to have to mirror drive, try to protect this 82, but the 82 has the fear. He's trying to play offense on the 52, but also play defense on the 67.
Peyton Howell's got a different line going through 3 and 4 there. It looks like he tried to dime in the corner and bring out an opportunity to bring some dirty air to Brian Mercurio. That's allowed Connor Horn to close the gap. And through 1 and 2 we go. Horn going to roll the top. Mercurio in the tire tracks of Howell. And then Scioli watching from afar. We see the run that Horn's going to get. He's going to give it to the 82. He'll actually take it low going into 3. Peyton Howell enjoying this as 67 now moves into second.
And Brian doing the smart move there, just letting him go and realizing that if we race side by side, we're going to let Peyton drive off. He did so much work to get here. Let's not waste it all and allow the 52 to drive off into the lead. And of course, Connor Horn, the pole sitter, who didn't get to utilize that pole for very long, he's trying to get himself the lap led, and he's trying to do it the hard way by actually going up on the wheel here under green flag and passing that number 52, who's going to rip the bottom, and Connor Horn is going to try to use the top, cut down the track, try to get some momentum off corner exit, carry down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Connor Horn's got a great run here on the front stretch. He's going to give it to Peyton Howell going into turn 1. He's going to look low. Howell's going to try and shut the door. Can't quite do it, so Horn's going to have some clean air to his inside. So they're going to be door-to-door down the backstretch for the lead. Howell on the top. Horn's going to probably send it deep into 3. And he will, and can't quite clear. He's going to move up. But now he will clear off turn 4. Connor Horn back in the lead. The Pulsar is going to lead his first lap of the night.
Mercurio in the safer barrier off of 4 as Connor Horn gets himself his first lap led. Mercurio hit the wall. That opens the door for Scioli. That opens the door for Sebastian Marin, perhaps, unless the 82 can get the run off of the top. And then you see Jake Nichols in 6th, a little ways back. But right now, Mercurio trying to fiend off the battle of the 95, and that will not be able to be done, I don't think. He's so close to clearing. He's so close to clearing, and Sebastian will clear indeed.
As the lot has shuffled over the last handful of laps, Horn the leader, Howell in second. 3rd, 4th, and 5th have rotated quite nicely. Scioli in 3rd, Marin 4th. Mercurio 5th as we got more guys making pit stops.
And that's a chill cut. That is Slaughter. That is Josh Parrish. And this is lap 40. So, I mean, it's not an even 40, 80, 120 as it would have been in the truck series, but, you know, maybe 43, 86, and, you know, kind of splitting the race into thirds may be a strong decision to make. But here is Marin going to the inside, clipping the grass in the apron, but that's all well and fair as he will now move up into the 4th spot. Sebastian Marin getting by Scioli, and look at Jake Nichols ring around the top of the racetrack. He's trying to close it on that 82, who, not sure if it's damage, not sure if it's just warring out the tires, but he seems to be losing a little bit of speed in that 82.
Sure has. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. My cat just kind of jumped up onto my setup here. But Mercurio mentioned it. He is falling back, and Nichols trying to move up. But also moving up, Peyton Howell trying to get around, or actually trying to stay in front of Sebastian Marin. He's working that bottom, trying to get around the 52.
And Peyton will just pancake the wall. Not even a pancake. That was just a little breath of concrete onto the right side. But Sebastian will do the dive, which... that move at Kansas has been patented since 2008 when Carl Edwards did it in the old layout here at Kansas, doing that video game dive on Jimmy Johnson. Didn't work, but stayed in the record books for years to come. And that seems to be, even on the service, just doing that dive bomb into 3 seems to be one of the ways to make passes. Timmy Pacioli, quiet run thus far, and he is right on that playoff bubble. He is into the chase bubble. And Zach Kerr behind, and he had that amazing save a little while ago. So we'll just await who of the leaders is going to draw first blood.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to point out because we're near lap 50 as guys have already made their pit stops. The leaders have yet to do so, and I mean, they're so close to each other. There's so many battles that are going to happen within this group, but there you can see fresh tires on the 29 compared to the leaders who have yet to pit.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally, as we like to say, it's NASCAR 25 on easy mode right here. With the amount of speed, he is going about, I'd say, 10 miles an hour faster through the center of the corner than Connor Horn was. And that is David Weishart getting himself back on the lead lap, which is the most important thing you can do when you are doing a short pit strategy. Try to get back on the lead lap. You don't want to fight the lucky dog spot or the wave around. It's good to be on the lead lap. And that is exactly where he is. I'm going to take a gander here that it's going to be Brian Mercurio, probably drawing first blood in the 82. I think he is, well, it's not going to be this lap because now Jake Nichols is to his outside, but he seems to be struggling more than anybody in the top 5 right now, and even more so with some wall contact.
Indeed, as this battle continues, Mercurio, Nichols, Evans, 5th, 6th, and 7th on the racetrack. A little further up front, though, this battle for the lead starting to get a little more close, starting to heat up. Horn, Marin, and Howell. Howell has yet to let the 95 go. Marin has closed in significantly to the 67. And once again, James Skyley is there, but he's just watching from afar.
He is, and I do want to point out regarding pit road, something that threw the Cup race on its head, and I don't remember the drivers involved, but John Hall coming into the pits. We did have a driver who didn't make their call out that they were coming into the pits, and that caused a massive crash, which threw the race upside down with the strategy. So when you have this many cars in a pack, it will be vital that these drivers communicate with each other to make sure that they can make their safe pit entries. And speaking of pit entries, here's Connor Horn. He was this one who sped the other day, Connor, and he looks like he might do it again.
He really cooked it going into pit road. Don't think he'll get a penalty, though. Don't see any black flags on him yet.
So far, so good. So that's called getting everything you can get out of it. And the one-lap undercut is something that is huge. Also, Travis Beckner, Philip Groner, AJ Stravato. We have Ryan Nowicki in the pits as well. But that one-lap undercut could be huge, and Sebastian's going to keep it out on the track, as is Peyton Howell. We do have Scioli in the pits as well as Jake Nichols. So many pit stops to be had now. We'll see where everybody blends out. Justin Opplinger finds himself on pit road. He was in the top 10. Still waiting on the leaders, though.
Yep. Still waiting on Marin, Howell, Evans, Mercurio. Still a handful of guys or so that have yet to pit. Actually, looking at it, it's the top 10. Marin all the way down to the wiki. They have yet to come in and make a pit stop.
Yeah, a couple more drivers peeling on in this time through. As you can just see that view, it's Zach Carr, Garrett Conrath, and Brian Mercurio as well. So, and you just have to think as well. We know that our mental math is a little bit off with it, but just think of every lap that Sebastian stays out. He's losing about 2 seconds a lap, and now he's not going to lose any more. He's going to peel into the pits. Pretty nice, smooth entry there for him. But Peyton Howell remaining on the racetrack. You know, we don't have any numbers. We estimate that it should be around, say, 60 laps at most. But in some crazy world, if you can make it to 65 and do it on a one stop, that could be a strategy. I don't see it happening, but we haven't been told otherwise.
Marin and Miller have come down pit road. So is Peyton Howell.
Yep, he is pulling into the pits right now. And Jonathan Evans drove in a little deep. Thus far, at the point of his saying, nobody has gotten a black flag. Connor Horn was the one I expected, but at this point, everybody with a clean entry in the pits. I do want to point out, for those who aren't fully vested into iRacing's inner workings, there was a patch today where iRacing did offer light lenience to the pit road speeding. So I think they realized that it was actually a little too sensitive, so they did kind of lighten the reins up a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. So I think Connor Horn may be very appreciative of that. But here is Sebastian Marin, and who is that behind him? Brian Mercurio. They exited right on each other's tail.
Yeah, and they're going by Jonathan Evans and Peyton Howell, who are coming out of pit road. You can see them on the apron there trying to blend back in. Good bit of ways to go to get back up to these two, but even when everyone makes their pit stop, the running order is all mumbo jumbo. David Weishart would cycle to the lead, being one of the first guys, actually I think the first guy to come down pit road. J2 Poole,
black flag.
He's got a penalty.
Bad boy, too fast on entry. But yes, it was David Weishart who pitted the longest ago. He pitted about 10 laps before anybody else. So he is, let's see, he's 15 seconds back. So he is 4 seconds up on Connor Horn. And Connor Horn is about 5 seconds up on Sebastian Marin. But again, you have to remember, even 4 or 5 laps of staying out, that equates to a good bit of gap and probably 3 or 4 tenths on the stopwatch per lap. So it'll be interesting to see if those drivers can make up that time before the next pit stop, because we will have another one. And I hesitate to say it in race summary. If you're just joining the race now, the Kansas Florida State Builders Pro Series race has a tendency to go either caution-free or have 1 caution at maximum. And at the time of this recording, on lap 55, we have been clean and green here at the Kansas Speedway. Have we?
No, I'm looking through. Bryce Senesek has a meatball staying on my scoring for some reason.
Yeah, and I am looking through my log of information to see if I can see something that may have happened to him. And nothing stands out, but I will we'll keep an eye on that situation. As again, we're still waiting on, well, David Weishart's not going to be able to hang on for much longer. Because if you look in the mirror, that immediate car to his arrears is Connor Horn, which would be the battle for the lead. Now, Weishart prior to the pit stop was probably in the mid-teens. So I think the best case scenario for Weishart is maybe a caution within the next 10 to 15 laps where everybody's going to peel back into the pits, and then it ends up being a massive net gain for him. But hopefully, if you're a Weishart fan, by the time he needs to pit again, he doesn't blend too far back into the grid.
Update on Bryce Senesek. He had a right front tire go down. Mentioned that a lot of guys had yet to pit. He was over 55 laps or 54 laps on his tires, and the right front just could not take it anymore, and Weishart couldn't take it anymore. He's in the wall after hearing the unfortunate news from Senesek. Connor Horn's the leader as Josh Adams is pitted. He's wishing that could have happened maybe a lap or so earlier. So maybe Weishart could have led the lap, but unfortunate there for him. Connor Horn is the leader. Scioli is coming through. Chilcott mentioned, I don't know if we mentioned him or not, but he pitted early as well. He cycled up into the top 5. John Hall as well. Brad Slaughter up here too. These guys taking a risk, pitting early, and trying to get track position from it.
You can see here on the ticker, this gives you the variance. So when you're seeing the comers and goers, this is the reason why. David Weishart pitted 16 laps before the guys in front of him, and on the stopwatch, what does 16 laps equal? Well, a 32.8 for Connor Horn, a 33.6 for David Weishart. That is all but a second slower per lap, and that is those tires. So he is hoping by the time he plans to pit again, which will probably be in about 25 laps, that he is at some kind of a net gain. Otherwise, this may be disastrous for that number 29. But there's Sebastian, there is Ryan Nowicki, who is off the lead lap, but there is also Alex Chilcott, who is not as fast as the leaders, but he is faster than Weishart in that number 60. He's just trying to recover from that end of line penalty. And it's hard to recover when there's no reprieve, no caution, no stage, no nothing in the race.
And he is, we're looking through, and I'm thinking, oh, hello, we got a good bit of cars here. I'll hold my thought for the moment.
Pacioli to the top. That is the 97 of Zach Carr. Brad Slaughter to the bottom. Here's Peyton Howell on fresher tires. Justin Opplinger 3x3 at Kansas, the 8 wiggling off the corner. Again, this is comers and goers. This is fresh tires, different pace to drivers, older tires, all just in the blender at the same time. And Peyton Howell, remember, he was in the top 5, led a lot of the race, had fallen back a couple spots, but he was one of the latter to pit, and now he's trying to make that time up. He's 5 seconds off the leader and about 5 or 6 spots out of where he was prior to pit stop.
Indeed. Looking through now, I want to say, I think David Weishart splitting this into thirds just from looking at when he pitted, with how early he pitted. Looking at some of these guys that stayed out longer, they're probably doing a 2-stopper. But Weishart could be coming in soon within the next handful of laps. I want to say maybe 3. He pitted 33 laps into his run. I would assume he'd go a couple more to kind of match his stop here of doing a second and a third. With the third, presuming, if this is correct, the third stop presuming around lap 99 or 100, get 30 laps on his third set of tires. So, because his car is fading pretty quick.
All right, and that'll be a risky strategy because at the end of the day, it's all a math equation. And are you good enough to do the math equation is the million-dollar question. I know I'm not. But people who are good at doing math are blue-tip pool builders because they have to do quotes and estimates and analyses and all that fun stuff. If you're looking to tidy up your pool for the summer or get your outdoor lounging area or get an outdoor kitchen ready for some entertaining, go to bluetippools.com. Their skilled craftsmen and cutting-edge tech will get your backyard looking to life and up and spicy and ready for a fun summer. You can head to bluetippools.com for more info. As Peyton Howell working through, there's the 97 is that car, splitting the gap between Chilcutt and Groner. This is all for live position, but as we've said, this is all positions that are definitely situated by tires. But going up front, Sebastian Marin is now the race leader. He got around Connor Horn, and this is how he did it. Did it from actually quite a ways back. Something happened to Connor Horn? Oh, actually, that was a while back. That was the wrong trigger, so I apologize for that. That was a trigger from a while ago, but regardless of it, Sebastian is the race leader. I was looking to see what happened to Senesac prior to that meatball explanation that we got. But now Sebastian Marin doing Sebastian Marin things and starting to pull away. This is how he did it, I promise this time. He just drove right on the outside.
Yeah, just with ease. But sometimes it's all it'll take.
And where do they stand on the tire strat? It is 3-lap fresher tires for Sebastian Marin. I'd say 3-lap fresher tires and maybe a little sprinkling of extra Sebastian Marin pace that he just seems to have at many of these tracks. And that will equal a 7/10 of a second gap. But again, for your Connor Horn fans, he just needs a good solid run, which is what he's having right now. He is 36 points up on the cut line. But Talladega being next week and many drivers who have the opportunity to get a wild card, he just needs a good solid running. Obviously you want to win, but if you have a second place car, try to finish second with it. But someone who is going to try to interrupt that second place finish, James Scioli, who is closing in on that 67.
The gap's starting to go down. Scioli looking to try to somewhat get control. He's quietly been inside the top 5 the whole time. He's been a watcher of the battles that have been going on in front of him, and getting towards the halfway part of this race, and it's looking like he's starting to find a better rhythm, try to take control. They're second back from Sebastian Marin, but he is closer to Connor Horn to possibly make a move. He's still got about a second back from John Hall, so he can make some maneuvers if he wants to, try to feel some things out and see if that works.
He's got plenty of time in the rearview mirror to make stuff happen indeed. We do have at this juncture, as we are now past the halfway point, still have 29 cars on the lead lap. Ben Pierce being the last of which right now. Ryan Nowicki, Bryce Senesek, remember he had a spin earlier, well, a pseudo spin earlier, but he has not gotten to recover from it. Skylar Shackelford, JT Poole, and the recap guy, Ben Whitsitt. He's out there 4 laps down. Not sure if something happened to him or what, but he is 4 laps down. Running shotgun on the field, but turning these laps indeed, as we are in kind of unprecedented territory right now. We have a really green flag running race. We have strategies aplenty, guys on different overcut, undercut situations, and it's going to be very interesting to see which one ends up being the winning strategy. But and make sure you stay tuned. But while this race is in a good flow, we are just going to step aside for a brief moment. We will be right back with you. Stay with us. And we are back here on PTR TV for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series here at the Kansas Speedway for a 130-lap event. It's myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, and in the truck hunter, Sleppy, with the calls. He'll be back in a minute once his cap finishes having its crazy time moments. But we are having a great race here at the Kansas Speedway at the time of this recording, slightly past the halfway point. We are still clean and green with 55 laps to go. On pace for a caution-free race. We haven't had one of those in a few weeks. We had a caution-free race at the Dover Speedway, so this series certainly is one that is known for these long green flag runs. Connor Horn, our pole sitter, led some laps. He's back to second right now. Sebastian Marin is the leader, but I will say that Sebastian Marin's lead is starting to decay. Connor Horn really has some good long run pace, even though he has a couple lap older tires. You can see last time by almost a tenth faster, and also faster than Sebastian Marin was Scioli, was Mercurio, was Jonathan Evans. Everybody's still within reach of about 2 seconds of our race leader, so we are still in for a phenomenal finish here with a lot of strategy calls to be had. Of course, talk about some other partners here with Area. You can head to rickshotsauce.com if you like some good spice and want to try something new. They have flavors such as golden garlic, Palm Beach pineapple, and Lokahatchee Classic. And they will also be partnering with a $100 prize on the Monday Cup Series for the Rookie of the Year. Head to rickshotsauce.com. But here's a good battle. Peyton Howell trying to work his way back up through the field. Kind of has stagnated around the 7th spot. John Hall currently in 6th. Now Peyton trying to run the top. The top not really doing anything for him at the moment. Just behind that, Jake Nichols, who not really having a Jake Nichols-like day. Does have some older tires comparative to a lot of the competition in the top 10. As Peyton Howell getting the Kansas kiss against the fence there. That'll cost him some momentum, allow Jake Nichols to get to the bottom of the racetrack, but not with enough momentum to be able to make that run complete for the pass. So he will fall back into line, but going through the field, Zach Carr and Philip Groner, 9th and 10th. They are in close proximity. And then we head a little further back. Garrett Conrath, remember, he was up in the top 5 earlier. Started 8th. Probably was moved up to the 4th or 5th spot at some juncture. But now back to 14th. Him and Travis Beckner back there, as we may have the next set of pit stops going on. Brad Slaughter coming in. This would be right at around the 2/3 distance. You get the 83 in. David Weishart, he was crying for tires after his strategy. So he is in the pits. Ryan Nowicki, I don't know why he mixed it up. He's not in the pits. Sebastian Miller into the pits. So we are now at that point where this could be the final pit stop of the day, barring a caution flag. Connor Horn has kind of stalled out right around 0.7 of a second, but that is still plenty close enough to maybe be able to gain under a pit stop cycle. Maybe go for the 1-lap undercut and make something happen. But David Weishart being shown a black flag, presumably too fast entering the pits. And that number 29, he was struggling on that tire call, and now he is going to be even more so struggling, being multiple laps down with that penalty. And then we have here, this is the 10th spot, as pit stops are aplenty. We'll start seeing those comers and goers. Zach Carr, Philip Groner, they're having a little bit of a go. And Timmy Pacioli, someone we haven't talked about too much here today. Again, another one of those bubble drivers, 12th on the point standings coming in here, which is one of the worst places to be in, because you never know if any wild card drivers will bump him out, but he is there battling with Garrett Conrath for the 13th spot. As we are now down to, I think, 45 laps to go. Pit stops are underway. We're still waiting for our top goers to make that final decision.
Yeah, the cat is calm.
For now.
Yeah. As soon as I heard things getting thrown around in there, I'm thinking, all right, well, what's he up to? So had to tend to that. Pit stops underway. Mentioned it. Klinger is now in. But when will the leaders come in and make their final pit stop? Presumably final pit stop.
I mean, we're right now, where are we standing on the stints for most of these drivers? It is 34 to 37 laps. So I would take maybe 40, maybe right around lap 40 into their stint. So maybe 90, that would be my guess. I think there's going to be really good credence to being the first one in, but you don't want to be too early in. But if you can get in a lap before your competitor, that will certainly benefit you. As here comes Alex Chilcutt and Travis Beckner. Of course, 2 Hendry County boys coming in on the same lap. So, thought he was going to slide his pit box there. But we'll see what happens. Casey Lakatos about to go 1 lap down to our leader, Sebastian Marin. James Scioli has kind of stagnated right around a half second behind Connor Horn. And then you go back to the 4th spot. You find Brian Mercurio, who made a couple little tidbits with the wall here today, but nothing that has been overly detrimental. And then you round out our top 5 with Jonathan Evans.
Yeah, rolling through, and there's the 86 car coming into pit. Doesn't slide the box, so be a good stop for him. Marin continuing to lead.
Yes, indeed. We have also Josh Parrish in the pits as well. Accioli leaving his box. Kansas exiting the pits here. I don't want to oversell it as being the most difficult pit exit in the world, but there are drivers that have issues with it. It is a little bumpy, and it is very dusty. Different banking transitions from like 0 degrees to like 4 degrees back up on the banking. I've spun out once here, but I'm not at the level of these drivers. But Pacioli doing a solid job. John Hall, probably the first of the top 10 coming into the pits. I know Opplinger was already in the pits, so it makes sense that John Hall would follow within reasonable distance of him. And up front, that lead has now ballooned back to about 1 second. Sebastian having to go to the top and allowing these fresh tire cars to go on by.
Yeah, rolling through. Still have yet to see a yellow. We're about to be 90 laps into the race, and Peyton Howell's coming in, so one of the leaders coming through. And like you mentioned earlier, this isn't an uncommon thing to happen. The last season we had no yellows in a race. Season 5, Season 1, kind of the same thing. But I don't see the 7 of Scioli up there just yet. He's in third, and I mentioned that. Well, he's coming down pit road now, but every time... Don't get it slowed down. Every time a race is going caution-free here, he usually wins. So he's still putting himself in a good spot to potentially win, but running out of laps to do so. Only 40 left.
So Garrett Conrad had a very high-speed entry into the pits there. Had a nice little Tokyo drift slide. Now, how much longer is Sebastian Marin going to stay out on the racetrack? Now, just again, picture it as 2 seconds a lap. So now he's lost about 4 seconds because Connor Horn, Scioli, they've already made their pit stops sequences. I mean, he is Sebastian Marin. He can drive that car like a boss. But I just, when you already have a lead, you don't want to put yourself in too big of a hole. But I know he would be able to dig out of just about everything. Brian Mercurio, close proximity to Jonathan Evans for that third spot as they are behind a slower, well, rather a faster car, I guess, in this instance, who's pulling away. Can't quite make out who it is. But remaining on the track for even one further lap.
Indeed. The longer you stay out, though, the better your laps will be on towards the end of this one, as we've seen just how much tire wear matters. So we see Jeremy Miller coming in the pit road. Still have yet to see the current top 5 come down and make another pit stop. Sebastian Marin not going to come around this time through. Some guys that have already made presumably their final stops of the race. We got Brad Slaughter in 12th, Opplinger in 13th, and then we got John Hall, Connor Horn, Chilcutt, presumably the top 5, pending on how the rest of this cycles out.
There's Jake Nichols coming on in, as Scioli has already pit, so it makes sense that they would come in a lap or so after that. Jonathan Evans still can't find his way by the 82. They are just mirroring each other's lines right now and doing a good job there in second and third, but it was fourth and fifth prior to the stop. Connor Horn has blended out to the 13th spot. John Hall in front of him because John Hall did pit first, and they are still one lap down. Casey Lakatos is the first driver one lap down now. So Connor Horn in a mass rush to get back on the lead lap just in case a caution does fly. Here comes the 97 of Zach Carr to the attention of his crew. And now we are on 35 laps to go. Still waiting on Marin. Still waiting on Evans. And now Mercurio. He'll peel in here taking lap 96.
Yeah, finally coming in, making a pit stop, and going to try and do something to undercut the leader of Marin. Try to put him in a rough spot.
And it's just the longer, I guess the other side of the coin too is, yes, he's losing a lot of time, but at the same time, he's going to have even lesser need to save it all because now he's only going to have to run 33 laps, which is still going to wear the tires out quite a bit, but running 33 laps is a lot easier than running 43 laps. He can kind of turn the wick up a little bit more on each coming lap, but he's going to have a massive deficit to have to come back from. And if a caution does come out, that could be highly detrimental, but the trend is not in his favor because these drivers have done a phenomenal job. As I think Jonathan Evans' pit crew may be suited up for the Waldorf Astoria. Their interesting pit crew design there, but here finally comes Sebastian on lap number 97.
Yeah, so we'll have about a little over 30 laps on his new set of tires that he's about to put on.
And where will he blend out is the big question. Connor Horn did get by John Hall, so he is the operative leader here once Ryan Swan finishes his spot. I didn't even realize Ryan Swan was driving a Blue Tip Pool Builders car. I would have had his name on the screen earlier, but anywho, Connor Horn will drive by him with relative ease. And I guess the next person who is in the mix, per se, James Scioli, he is, I guess, about a second and a half behind Connor Horn right now. But can't count out John Hall. He's a little off strat with the pitting a couple laps later, but he does have good
Swan
pace.
On the wall back there. Yeah, looking through, Kite is 50 laps, Swan is 52 on their current set of tires, 41 for Josh Adams. I mean,
this might be a caution.
Oh.
If he goes slow enough, this could be a caution. It's not
That's
always
Sebastian Miller in the wall.
It's not always about the angle to the field. Sometimes it's about the speed difference to the field. So this, if you're Josh Adams, stay out, stay out, stay out.
That might be a hardware failure because, I mean, he's staying in the wall the entire time, and we've seen this earlier in the week, but no, he'll
good job.
keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, he was able to turn down where he was in a good gap comparative to any competition, so that will keep us clean and green, because there's also a pressure as a driver there, Hunter, in these kind of races. You don't want to be the guy that throws the race upside down because of a caution. So at this point, I think all the drivers want to see this race go through, even if it's not to their immediate benefit.
Very true. That could have been an opportune yellow for those that have yet to pit. Casey Lacanis just going to come in. Man, this is really interesting how this is going to cycle out. Sebastian Marin, 12 seconds back. Connor Horn, 5 seconds back from the leader, so we're presuming...
whoa!
Swan. There's Beckner. There's Marin and Mercurio.
This is called fresh tires and a little bit more pace all the way down to the grass, trying to get around Pacioli. And I mean, Mercurio might be a little outpaced right now to Marin. He hasn't really shown that he can compete with the 95, but he can probably hang on. He's playing ultimate defense to try to stay ahead of that 95 as long as possible. Oh, no. That was connectivity issues, nearly into a wreck there.
Oh, they might be... Oh, they're not going to put Chilka in the middle. They are going to be 3 wide, and that's going to get Marin around Mercurio. So +1 to him as far as those guys are concerned, and everybody else that is off cycle from them. Donald Kite still yet to pit, but Josh Adams has pitted. Connor Horn is in the lead. So these two are doing battle. Actually, scratch that. Battle no more. Marin went around Groner. He's up to 6th, and his lap time is significantly better than Connor Horn.
Now that was while making passes 1 second faster per lap. Now they will slowly even out lap to lap. The new tires lose their newness. The old tires start to decay a little bit slower, so they will even out. But it will be a hard-pressed challenge for that number 67 to hang on. But We'll never know what can happen. 25 laps to go. We did have people saying that they think this is Connor Horn's day, and he has driven the race to prove it. I mean, the 95 is kind of alien status on most occasions, but if there's anyone that has shown that he can stay with him, it is that number 67. As we chug through, John Hall in second, James Scioli in third. He's trying to keep his Kansas winning ways alive, but I think he's just going to need a little bit more oomph than he's shown tonight to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. 8 car lengths back is Scioli. There's Mercurio and Justin Opplinger, and right in the middle of those two, in the 5th position, we find Sebastian Marin, 2.4 seconds, counting, closing in. There's Jonathan Evans back there in the 8th position, closing in rapidly on Justin Opplinger. He's actually going to look low on him going into the 3.
The 3 is looking a little bit lower on the track, and he will get to and make that pass. And then just behind that, you have the 22 of Josh Adams. He's on older tires, or rather, he's on newer tires, but he's not on the lead lap. So we do have a cloud coming over the track. That will add some grip. As I think Scioli getting close to John Hall going for a spot. But very quickly, I do want to bring up the weather. Remember, we started off at 128-degree track temp. We really haven't changed too much from it. We've only gone down 2 degrees. So this track, even though we've elapsed about an hour, this track is still as hot, greasy, and slick as it was about 106 laps ago. Sebastian Marin, he was 5 seconds back. Newsflash. Look at green car behind. Look at green car ahead. That gap, not very big, Hunter.
Nope, it is getting smaller and smaller. He's within a second of these leaders now, and he might make quick work of these two.
Oh my gosh!
On the front stretch. I mean, it's crazy how fast he is compared to the 24 and the 7. Different strategies blending in, and the later you pit, the better your tires are. And Marin's doing just that. He can go 3 wide with ease into 1, pass by both of them. Now has his eyes set on Connor Horn coming out too.
And the crazy thing is that is a matter of 7 laps. And here I am saying, well, Sebastian, why are you waiting to pit so long? Why are you waiting to pit so long? Well, he wanted Superman status. He usually has it on his own, but now he has it on his own, plus the advantage of significantly fresher Goodyears on a track that wears them out immensely. And now back to the lead. He had gained a lead of about a second prior. Connor Horn dug back into it to get it down to 6/10 on the long run, but even if that 67 has long run, I don't think he could overcome what 7-lap fresher tires will do to you.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants right now. It's his world. Everybody else is living in it. Back here, though, Philip Groner going to do battle with Justin Opplinger, 9th for the moment. And it won't be for... the 96 did hit the wall, but didn't lose as much as I thought he would. Still going to be a battle going into 1. Opplinger's going to try and drive it in on the outside. Groner going to clear him on the bottom coming out too.
Yeah, big slideways on corner exit. JT Poole did hit and get a black flag at the same time. Bryce Senesac deciding to pit, and that was a very close call for Sebastian Marin. He locked it up on entry, so I think as you talked about, there may have been a couple drivers here who were trying a 3-stop race, which I think we can safely say maybe was not the winning call. But I do want to bring up, and we talked about what happens with the tire deg there, Hunter, and you know, a second faster has now turned into only 3/10 faster. So unfortunately for Connor Horn, he lost the lead, but I guess fortunately the Superman status is quickly decaying.
Yeah, but there's a yellow in there. Could come in, get tires, and
everyone will have Superman status.
Someone take 2. Someone will have to take 2, because I don't think you could take 4 in that scenario with that little amount of laps left. But right here, Peyton Howell, Jonathan Evans doing battle for 6th. Right in front of them is Brian Mercurio in 5th. They're closing in on that as well. And Connor Horn trying to hold on to second for all he can. Scioli on his bumper. John Hall in fourth, riding the coattails of this battle. And Scioli's going to go low through one. Going to slide up in front of the 67. Try to complete the path. He won't be able to do so. Horn's in the wall. He's going to hold on to second for the time being, but second and third making contact. They don't lose their spot.
Yeah, what a bit of driving. And I think Scioli may have done the Tyler Reddick there and allowed the 67 to kind of regain himself there because he realized he washed up. A little bit of contact, 67 down the track. Had to do an amazing bit of driving down the straight there. And again, I'm pretty sure that was some good sportsmanship by the 7 to realize that he kind of put the 67 in that spot. It's not his cup of tea to race like that. And just good driving, good sportsmanship throughout.
Yeah, John Hall back there scraping the wall coming at it too. But Scioli tried to shut the door, was too late. He's sliding coming out of 3. Mercurio and Evans might have scraped the wall there, and Sebastian Mayer just driving away from it all.
Yeah, obviously a couple good laps after that incident that really slowed them down. Now he's up by 2 seconds and thought that could have been the caution, but luckily it was not. But we will have now, because of that little skirmish, is we do have even Mercurio and John Hall and even Jonathan Evans tagging in here. Do have about 4 or 5 drivers who are in the vein of second place right now as we now close into 14 laps to go. So this is certainly going to be a good one. And surprisingly up front, we don't have any Hendry County boys, but unfortunately we won't be able to tell you to go to Hendry County this weekend. However, if you are interested in visiting Hendry County Motorsports Park, you can do so on August 29th for the Sugar Smash Night of Destruction. And I just remember quite vividly, he said they're strapping flashlights onto the front of cars and turning the lights off. So if that does not pique your interest to head down to the southernmost dirt track in Clewiston, Florida, I don't know what will. Head to HendryRacing.com. Like seriously, I'm about to go email the admin at Seekonk Speedway and tell them that go call Hendry County and see what they're doing, because I want to be able to see that, but unfortunately I can't head that all the way down there. Mercurio and John Hall having a battle. That is for the 4th spot, and then Jonathan Evans, I think he's going to try to follow whoever is on the winning battle of that pass.
Yeah, and it's a good gaggle here from 2nd through 6th as top 5 battle here going into turn 1, trying to make it a 4th place battle, but Hall up high, Evans down low, and well, not really much of a battle. That was kind of it.
And there is the live gap. That was Sebastian. There is 2nd place Horn. There it is. That is the live gap, and actually Scioli ripping the top. Thought he was trying to get somewhere with it, not to be. I will say that Jonathan Evans was the fastest of the top 5 last time by even comparative to the race leader. Ran about a 10th faster. So Jonathan Evans does have the wherewithal to probably get up to 2nd if all the cards fall right, but he's going to have to make some passes very, very quickly, and passes are hard to come by at this point. Just talked about Hendry County. Here is one of them, Garrett Conrath and Timmy Pacioli. Again, 2 drivers fighting for their chase lives. And they are for 12th and 13th right now, which, ironically enough, that's where they are in the point standings. And here comes Conrath to the inside, coming to 9 to go.
Yeah, we're 9 laps away from this one being a caution-free event. Would be the 4th time this has happened in the Pro Series at Kansas, but Sebastian Mayer was able to figure a way out to outpace him, and then his pit strategy was just pit later than everyone else, and it worked. It paid off. He's got the lead, 2.5 seconds above Connor Horn, but 2nd through 6th, I mean, those positions could switch at any given moment. I mean, they're door-to-door right now for 2nd. Scioli on the bottom, Horn on the outside. Mercurio all of a sudden has gained ground and could potentially find himself in the podium spot. And then a little further back, but not too far back, 3 car lengths back. You see the 26 of Jonathan Evans. He's right there. John Hall is watching in the wings. And then Peyton Howell is only 1 second back from this group of cars.
Yeah, like I said, this battle can easily go on its head any time now. They're 2.6 seconds back to about 3.7 seconds back. So only about 1.2, but now Connor Horn fighting for the second spot. Talked about the top wearing the tires down. Well, the tires don't matter now. It's 7 laps to go. Use what you got. Don't leave any tread on there if you can evade it. But now Scioli trying not to go for second, trying to hang on to third. Mercurio ripping on that white line, a little slideways on exit, but there's the run off the top. And again, Jonathan Evans, who's trying to, actually that is a lap down car, Senesac behind, but he is trying to figure out where to put that number 26.
Yeah, he's got fresher tires than all these guys, but this is the top 5 in front of him. He knows what's at stake, but I don't think he wants to intervene and possibly dismantle anyone's day. So he's kind of in a pickle now, just having to run his race behind the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place drivers.
Oh, there's Scioli shutting the door on Mercurio through the apron on the tri-oval, and that still allows Connor Horn to hang on to that second spot, 2.5 seconds behind the leader. And Connor Horn, our pole sitter here today, didn't lead the opening lap, but he did manage to lead 23 laps prior to the first pit stop, and then led some right after the second cycle did close on through. But then Sebastian Marin, once he took the lead after about the first pit stop or so, he has been the dominator of the race. Not necessarily the fastest car, but he probably the most consistent car, and pushed the strategy to its limits beyond what I thought was the best strategy call, but he clearly has proven me 100% wrong, as he will drive off now to a 3-second lead, coming to 4 laps to go.
Yeah, not too far back from Sebastian Marin. This group that continues to battle, they will not stop until the checkered flag is waved, and it could really be a toss-up here for who gets 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Just a phenomenal group, and here we go. We got a 3-wide battle for the position. Mercurio low, Scioli middle, Connor Horn on the outside, and the 67 will prevail for the time being.
Yeah, here comes Mercurio trying to side draft. We saw the Kansas dive into turn 3. Will it work? It'll get him close to being there, but he can't slide. Why? Because now he's underneath the 67. Is that enough of a gap to dive up? It is not. So now Scioli has the run. Jonathan Evans, he'll remain on the racetrack rather than going on the apron. Again, trying to figure out where to put that 26, all while these drivers just cannot find a way by Connor Horn.
Now still trying to find a way around him. Mercurio, though, in a really good spot. Scioli going to give him a bump going into 3. Evans looking low. Trying to take 4th away. Scioli going to try and rip the top as Mercurio will just watch behind as Evans. Oh, he's going to get underneath Scioli. Mercurio is losing ground of Horn. And with 2 to go, Sebastian Marin hoping that these guys don't wreck so he can see the white flag.
Yeah, this is for that pivotal podium spot. Scioli will lose it for the time being, and now he is looking to lose 4th. Mercurio trying to get 3rd, but up front all the while coming to the white flag. And again, we are now officially, in about 15 feet, going to have a formal caution-free race. White flag in the air, brought to you by shop.area.iRacing.com. Sebastian Marin up by 3+ seconds in a season where he's only run what'll be 5 races. He's looking to bat 800, Hunter, with his 4th win on the season.
Yeah, he's half a lap away from doing so. 1 at Daytona, 1 at Homestead, and then he won at Rockingham. And, well, we haven't seen him in a while. This is his 5th race on the year, and coming out of turn 4, he'll be his 4th win on the season, this time coming at 1.5 miles, and Sebastian Marin's going to get the job done. He wins at Kansas.
And Connor Horn does hold on for 2nd. Brian Mercurio gets himself onto the podium. And James Scioli's streak of winning the caution-free races here at Kansas will come to a close. But a 4th place nonetheless. Jonathan Evans wrapping out the top 5, and That will leave one race left leading into the chase. Who will cement themselves there with just Talladega being on the table? We'll find out next week. But Sebastian Marin doing Sebastian Marin things. Final margin of victory, 4 seconds. Again, he had one of, if not the fastest car, but again, he pushed the strategy to the limit. And obviously, Hunter, the guy knows what he's doing, because look how well it worked.
Yeah, it's worked out well for him. And I mentioned earlier, the deepest the drivers come from the field to win is 11th. Well, Sebastian started 19th, so he had to break that record. So now, anyone who races at Kansas in the future, 20th on back, you got yourself a tall task to take on as Sebastian Marin does his burnouts for the 4th time this season.
And we'll go over our final rundown of results here today from the Kansas Speedway. Sebastian Marin getting his 4th win on the season out of 5 starts, up by almost 4 seconds over Connor Horn. Brian Mercurio, through that joust with all those drivers, gets the back end of the podium in 3rd. Scioli with a 4th. Jonathan Evans with 5th. John Hall in 6th. Peyton Howell, he led some laps. He finished 7th. Jake Nichols, a quiet run relatively, in 8th. Philip Groner and Justin Oplinger rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, and just missing out on that top 10 was Zach Carr in 11th, Gary Conrath 12th, Timmy Pacioli going to round up 13th, 14th will be Chilcutt, Travis Beckner 15th, followed by Slaughter, Miller, Stravato, Senior, and Adams in the top 20.
And we'll just round out the results page here today in a caution-free race here in the Florida State Builders Pro Series. Josh Parrish with a 21st, Jackson Hartman 22nd, Donald Kite 23rd, then Ryan Swan and Casey Lacanis, Pierce, Weishart, Shackelford, Senesac, and Nowicki, and then just the drivers who just didn't have the best of days for one reason or another. JT Poole, Sebastian Miller, Kerr, Whitsitt, and Forrest Smith's shotgun. Actually, Forrest Smith didn't actually take to the grid here today. But we will wait and see. Has Sebastian queued on up? I don't think he is. I know he kind of comes in a little bit late to his shows, but we'll bring in Connor Horn. Well, Connor, the boss man had predicted you to win the race today. I don't know if that's any added pressure. Didn't quite get it because Sebastian did the Sebastian things, but phenomenal run for you in that 67, man. How was that feeling to rip this place today?
On one hand, it feels good. On the other hand, I wish you didn't show up. It's so frustrating. Beat everyone else. Literally everyone else I can beat on some days except that guy. That dude, Sebastian's just crazy. If he had everything, like the best setup, just like if he even had, I don't know how setups are in Coke, but it's hard to believe a talent like that won't win a Coke Series title. It just sucks he had to show up. But yeah, pace was good. I was really not happy long run in practice. If you wore it wrong, you were tight entry, loose exit, and you were so bad. But, we're just, I don't know. I just drove it slowly. I drove it a little hard the first run because I wanted to keep Conrath and Scioli behind me because I knew I could. I knew I was faster than Conrath, but I knew James is always fast here. So, and then it just worked out. All of a sudden, Peyton started coming back to me. Then I started trying another line, and I got by Brian, which was a shock. And then getting the lead was pretty surprising. I was pretty happy about it. But then Sebastian got the second. I was like, not this guy again. But I say again, I don't think I've ever battled him for a win because he just can't. But the second run was good. Sebastian he had so much pace. He was able to overcut, have fresher tires, and just blow by everyone the last 2 runs. And I had to keep not really short pitting, but there's guys who I know were pitting before me that last run and the second run, both rounds of pit stops, where you just don't want to let them in front of you because the clean air in this car is so important. And I think I wore him out trying to keep the 24 behind me, and then James maybe was a touch faster than me at the end. Then he put me in the wall, and thankfully I was able to finish ahead of him. But overall, good race. It was nice battling for a top 3 like that. I've only done that obviously twice this year, and in this league series. But it was good to finish well, and it's pretty important team points. And managed mobile, New York Pizza Department, all their sponsors, AmericanFishes.com, Vey Lip Balm, Matt Liveries, Matthew Tomalari, Simrap Market, everyone who helps put these 609 cars on track and making them look good. Can't thank them for enough for their support. It's good to pay them back with a good run once in a while. Hey, this is where I hit James after the checkered ended because I didn't like him walling me. But it was a good race. And if you're gonna finish second to anyone, Sebastian's usually the guy. So I don't feel bad finishing second to him, but just like, God, anyone else, I wish he wasn't in the field. But he's gonna be a Coke champ for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Connor, I can honestly say I have no further questions. You summarized everything, so great job, man, and good thing that you had that run. You will probably be pretty safe heading into Dega, so I think your chase run should be pretty solidified. Good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
And the winner has arrived. You heard Connor's opinion on Sebastian here today. Obviously, full respect, but Sebastian getting the win here with Hunter.
Yeah, no caution, no problem for Sebastian. You were able to work your way through from 19th in the field, and I did mention earlier at the beginning of the broadcast that the deepest of drivers come from the field is 11th to win. Well, you have obliterated that record, your 19th place starting spot. Phenomenal drive from you. Take me through how the race went from your perspective, because it seemed like, at least to my perspective, from the first 2 laps when you made up 8 spots, that you were going to be one to watch out for.
Yeah, obviously didn't really set down a good lapping queue. Just didn't realize how loose the car was going to be on a push lap. Started mid-pack. Just was trying to make up a lot of spots early. And then we got into the top 8 cars around there. And I think that's when my tires finally started showing some pain for all the short run gains I was doing. So I kind of tried to make a move on Mercurial 1 lap, and that seemed to tip the tires over the edge for a bit. I kind of just had to ride for the rest of that stint to kind of revive the tires, and they came back at the end of the run, at least compared to everyone else. Did the overcut to Connor. Connor had great pace all race long. Having the overcut, I knew eventually I would get to him. Got to him, didn't really pull away, so I was hesitant if I wanted to do the same thing because of how quickly the tires seemed to have evened out. But decided to risk it again, in case we get a yellow or whatever. But, the worry was that if I did pit and we ran a couple laps, if a yellow fell, I would be like 8th before I'd get back to the front. But that was a little scary. But besides that, just got to the lead quicker than I expected. I would say this last run, I'm gonna guess it's probably because with all the rubber being laid down, that last run was the tightest the car was all the race. And my guess was just I managed to keep the right front on it a little better than everyone else. So, just kind of stretched out the lead, and then from there, it was just hope and no yellows.
Well, it worked out for you in the very end. 4th win in 5 starts. Congrats on the job. Well done. And will we see you in Talladega next week?
I think I might be there. I like the new aero package that these cars have at super speedways, so I might show up just to have a little bit of fun. Hopefully not cause any chaos for other people that are racing for points. But yeah, we might be there. So if it's like tonight, like John Hall reminds me of this race that I completely forgot, and John mentioned it, so I decided to show up. So thank you. The field should say thanks to John for tonight. So we'll see if I show up next week.
And well, now we know who Connor Horn needs to thank for tonight's winner. Sebastian Marin, congrats on the win.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.
Oh, interesting takes indeed. And we'll wrap up the podium here today. Brian Mercurio drove through and got himself on the podium there in that pack of drivers in the last few laps. Started 10th, finished 3rd. Looks like you are 9 points behind Peyton Howell still for that regular season championship. But all in all, caution-free race. Got that 82 on the podium. Just summarize your day for us, man.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I felt kind of okay in qualifying. I don't even remember why I lined up like 10th or something like that, and saw Cloud came out late for those who waited a little bit. So good on them. And I was just talking with Connor about that. So overall, just I don't know. I think I was just telling Connor too, between running laps at Coronado and Sonoma this week and officials, and we ran Daytona Road last week. It feels like it's been way too long since I ran an oval. So that first run, I was just kind of like having to re-dial myself in a little bit and get accustomed to running an oval and feeling dirty air and everything again. So all the runs after that, second and third run, I felt really, really good. Kind of saw the dynamic of the guys that pit super early and how the tires were falling off and if they were going to be able to hold on. And I wanted to stay out as late as I could that first run, and I think I picked just about the right time, and I was kind of able to run my own pace really after that and kind of just see where the cards fell in my favor, and ended up with a P3.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that you run here on Thursdays, but I know in the other series we've had more caution-oriented races, and it gets difficult with the strategy. At what point did you kind of cement in yourself, all right, we got a green flag race, this is the race I need to run for, is with my green flag strategy? Because we know cautions could throw it off, but did you kind of have the vibe that, from early in the race that this one might be one to go flag to flag?
Yeah, I mean, even at the end there was that there was a little bit of contact, actually quite a bit of contact between Connor and James. So I thought maybe that was gonna bring out a caution, and that kind of would have flipped the whole race on its head. But kind of that first run, it got a little bit spread out, and I felt like a lot of people were kind of figuring out where they want to run. And I think maybe at like lap 38 or 40, I got the warning from the spotter about my tires wearing out, and I said, okay, not going to run this out on fuel. We're probably going to, I was kind of figuring of splitting it, pitting at 50 and then splitting it whatever way it would have worked out for the end of the race. I think like 45-35 or 40-40, something like that, if you wanted to try to keep it even. But yeah, no, I'm glad it was able to stay green. It was a fun race. Cool that, pretty much second through like fifth or sixth, we all kind of bunched up there right at the end and raced each other really, really clean. I know I had a little bit of contact with James. I got to go look back on that. But yeah, I always enjoy a good caution-free race, good run, good point stay. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, man. Well, we'll let you go. 9 points is something you could do. Of course, Talladega it's the roll of the dice what happens. But either way, we'll see you next week for the regular season finale.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I want to give a few shouts here.
Of course.
First off, to Jacob and all the other area admins who put this on every week. Appreciate what they do. Been enjoying racing here the past couple races, especially. So looking forward to the rest of the season as well. You, Corey, and anybody else who's responsible for putting on the broadcast. Always appreciate that. Always like going back and looking at it. Big thanks to Tim for racing along with me, representing Coast to Coast here. I got a bunch of partners I want to give a quick thanks to. What's on tap? Chinchor Electric, Danis Utilities, Moras.live, Far Filaments, Paul Fod Racing, ShopPrestonPartis.com, Sebeka Bail Bonds, Outlaw Light, and Lockdown. And yeah, also today was my birthday. Turned 29 today. So
there you go.
Yeah, one day closer to getting to 30. That's going to be the scary one, but at least one more year here, still in my 20s.
I can give you firsthand experience. It's a depressing year, but you'll make the most of it, I'm sure. And we'll catch you later, man. Great job.
Thanks, Corey.
Well, a great race here today at the Kansas Speedway. Flag to flag action, Hunter. And what better way to round out a regular season than Talladega to cement that chase lineup and our regular season champion?
Yeah, Talladega is upon us. Anything can happen. Anyone can win. Great race from what we had tonight. The fourth no yellow race in the history of Kansas. And just want to get a little preview for Talladega and how chaotic it usually is. Usually have a last lap pass in every season. We've had green white checkers in 4 of the 7 races, and the last race we were there, Jeff Wright won from 32nd in the field. That's the deepest anyone has ever won from Talladega, but anything can happen, and looking forward to seeing what that could be.
Absolutely. You won't want to miss any of it. It'll be a triple header from Alabama next week. All 3 series here in area headed there for their regular season finales. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe here on PTR TV. Consider following on Twitch. $5 a month gets you double points, custom emotes, and turn those double points into free merch. We'll be live with all of our series next week. Triple bypass with 3 races, area with 3 races, elbows out on Wednesdays with road racing. And head to PrimetimeRacingTV.com to have a couple gaps on the weekends we could potentially fill in. And if you're interested, let us know. But that's going to be Corey and Hunter signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.